During my time in prison, I got involved in taking care of people who were dying. I happened to do my time at a federal prison hospital, and it was at the height of the AIDS epidemic, and men were really suffering there with AIDS, and people were brought there with various illnesses, but AIDS was a big part of the picture. And I was very fortunate to get involved with others and start a hospice program. And it was a big part of my life there for 11 years, of doing daily caregiving as a volunteer. And there's been so many transformative elements in my life with my meditation practice, my spirituality, confronted with the challenge of spending 14 years in prison, all these kinds of things. And at the same time, I think I could say that one of the most transformative elements was being involved in this kind of service. And it's why in our work we really try to offer others opportunities for service and promote this idea of service really as a path, as a spiritual path. It seems like there's nothing more powerful than getting our attention off of ourselves and onto someone else, focused at least for a moment on someone else's needs rather than our own. You know, it's not that we don't need to take care of ourselves and meet our own needs, but I think somehow many of us, I know in the past I had, we become over-focused on our own needs. And of course we all know that our culture has become very materialistic in many ways, and it can be all about me. We all suffer from this me disease. And one of the real antidotes to that is just to really shift the attention from me to someone else. And when we have the opportunity to serve others, whether it's some kind of direct caregiving with someone who's obviously suffering, or whether it's supporting an organization that we know is doing good work, and maybe we're just going into the office and we're, literally just stuffing envelopes, which is often what, as beginning volunteers, we get the opportunity to do, still knowing that we're serving an organization, we're serving a cause, we're serving a mission, we're doing something other than simply being focused on our own needs at that moment. And for me, this has really been the most effective means for transformation and lessening the grip of my own ego and self-focus. During those 11 years that I was doing daily hospice caregiving on all my meal breaks, my free time on my weekends, I had a regular job in prison. I had a 9-to-5 job teaching school. So it was a volunteer activity that I did for hours and hours every day and a lot of hours on weekends. And I didn't always want to go up and see my patient. I personally don't really love hospitals. There's something about the whole smell of hospitals, and as a young child, I think I went to visit my great-grandparents and the hospital. It's not something I naturally love to do. And there were days I would just feel, oh God, I don't want to go up there. But I would go because I had a relationship with that person, and I knew they were expecting, and they had a powerful need, that their need for companionship and somebody really to accompany them in their journey at the end of their life through a serious illness, potentially toward their dying, was bigger than my need for whatever kind of comfort or discomfort I felt around that at that given time. And once I got up on the hospital floor and walked down the corridor and cleared myself and went into the room, then all that burden of my own comfort or discomfort would always just disappear. And when I left, having been with the patient that I was working with, who all actually became my friends, so when I would leave my friend's room, I was completely transformed. And none of that feeling I had of, I'm not sure if I want to do it, I was actually uplifted and happy and joyful. And it wasn't that, I don't think it quite works, even though there's actually a lot of science now saying that serving others actually does make us happy, and that it does all kinds of things biochemically with our brain and our nervous system when we do an act of kindness that's actually really healthy for us. And actually even witnessing someone else performing an act of kindness has that same impact. So we could, then logically say, well, I'm going to use this as a higher strategy to meet my own needs. I'm going to go do service. But there's something problematic with that because it gets the focus back on me. So somehow for me, it's more helpful to actually be in touch with all of our resistance and to be in touch with our me focus and be in touch with all the reasons why we feel too busy today or we're not sure we want to go, and just do it. not do it by creating some logic that, oh, I'll feel better, even if we have had that experience, but just do it. You know, there's this quality of just stepping into service, even when we're not inclined to, when we don't feel inspired. And somehow, to me, that's more transformative because there's an abrupt shift from my own needs to someone else's needs. You know, we work with a lot of volunteers through our organizations. And in teaching at university, I taught at university for the last 10 years, and a lot of my classes involved service learning. So I was working with lots of students who were setting up various kinds of volunteer placements. And although, you know, I think anyone who, for whatever motivation, gets involved in service, it's a wonderful thing, and I want to applaud them and congratulate them. And at the same time, I had the experience that, you know, a lot of my students and some of the volunteers we run into, at the forefront of their interest in service tends to be, what's it going to do for me? You know, is this going to be enriching for me? Am I going to get a really good volunteer experience? Or are they just going to have me stuffing envelopes? Or am I going to get to do something meaningful? Or is this going to further my career? Is this going to give me a learning opportunity? And it's not, and I'm not saying that you know, we shouldn't pursue things that do help with our learning and have some synergy. But if it's all about that, then I think we really miss something. I think we lose something. There's just this quality of, for no other reason than we feel the call to service, that we just abruptly drop our own agenda and get involved with someone else's needs. For 5 minutes, for a half hour, for several hours, for whatever it is. To me, not only is that what really provides the greatest service for other individuals, because we're really there. You know, we're not there with some strategy to get our own needs met. We're not there. We're just there. You know, we've kind of just dropped our thing, and we're just there. And we get totally focused with this other person and just being present with no other agenda. And that's what really is the most helpful thing we can do, whether it's in direct service caregiving, whether it's serving an organization, stuffing envelopes, going out and doing work to clean up the environment, whatever it might be. And at the same time, ultimately, I think it's the healthiest thing for ourselves. If we do have a strategy that we want, you know, our life's activities to somehow align with our own spiritual growth, then for me, the best way to do that is drop all the strategies. You know, it's kind of one of these conundrums. It's kind of this catch-22 kind of thing, you know. And I think to sort of leap over that catch-22, we just have to have this abrupt drop. Forget of all the strategies and just jump in. You know, it's wonderful now that our current president and first lady are really emphasizing and doing this call to service, at which former other presidents have done as well. And so, you know, we have a great tradition of service and volunteerism in this country, and we just want to encourage people from the Peacemaker Institute and Prison Dharma Network to really just jump into opportunities of service as an opportunity to really step out of our usual stuff. It's just such a relief, actually, to get out of the box of our own thing about our life and just jump into somebody else's life for a little bit, or jump into someone else's cause for a little bit.